Any questions, queries? This is the right time for you. You can ask any question. There is no problem. Okay? There's no problem. You can ask questions. In fact, through questions we can learn better. Okay? So we can learn better. So please engage with the subject properly even after going home. Okay? So let the coming few days be your schedule for preparing for modern India. Okay, read this subject specifically, give more time to it. Apart, if in classroom, if you are spending 5 hours in class, at least some 3 hours you have to put it on modern India. 3 to 4 hours after you go home. Okay, read them properly and try to engage with the handouts. Okay, then whenever required, try to refer to spectrum, but don't try to read spectrum cover to cover. Okay, because it's very bulky. And most of it is not directly relevant for the exam. So what happened is post 2013, okay, UPSC, it started a contest with the spectrum textbook. What they did is they started giving questions deliberately outside of spectrum. Then spectrum, very next year, it will publish a new edition by including all the previous year questions of UPSC as part of the book. Okay, in this fight, okay, the people who got sacrificed is the students. Okay, so every year they give new dimensions. Okay, then these people will integrate them in order to prove that we have already covered these sections in the book. Okay, so unnecessarily it has become a conflict. And my suggestion is don't go to Bipin Chandra. Even though it's a very popular book, my suggestion is don't go to Bipin Chandra because it wastes a lot of time. Okay, it wastes a lot of time, so please don't read that book. Okay, see, because history is a very vast section, right? So it has ancient, medieval, art and culture, modern India. Okay, each section is the subject or the size of one particular subject. Okay, art and culture is almost equivalent to society. Ancient and medieval is equivalent to, okay, let's say, suppose a subject like international relations. So there are very huge sections. So just have a limit on the time that you are spending on this subject. Okay, so primarily depend on the class instruction. Wherever you have doubts, you can refer to one standard book, that is sufficient. Don't go beyond that. Okay, so because history can consume any amount of time that you can give it to the subject. Okay, so whatever you spend time on, it will take. Okay, even then there is no 100% guarantee that you are going to able to solve all the questions in the examination. That is the reason why my suggestion is have some limits on your preparation of history. Okay, do some good sections properly, then after that you leave it be. Okay, if the questions come from those sections, then try and answer them. If not, okay, then good riddance. Okay, it's better. Okay, because every section say questions, it's not possible for students to solve. Okay, so because they're going a little depth. Okay, so don't worry about solving all the questions. If you are able to solve the 70% of the questions in prelims from modern India, that itself is a great achievement. 70%, 70 to 80% is a good achievement. 10 questions say, 7-8 question agar, I mean, if you are able to do, then it would be best. Is it alright? Now, where was I? I was talking about the economic situation of India. I was telling about the riches of India, the exports of India. Okay, so the 3 agricultural seasons of India, spices of India, I talked about cotton textiles, silk, okay, indigo, raw materials that we used to export. So India is one of the major export destination at that point of time. Okay, and along with that, we also used to play the role of entry port in the international trade and commerce. So because of which the global gold, it used to come and it used to sink in India, and India is known as the sink of global gold at that point of time. And in this transaction, there is one more interesting aspect. Okay, so I'll just give you this triangular trade. Okay, just try and draw a diagram of the same. Okay, in your notes, it would be good for you to understand. So this trade is called triangular trade, wherein India is present in between. Okay, China is on the other side, and on the other side there is European. Okay, the Chinese are also similar to Indians. They did not have any great demand for the European products, but they used to export mainly, okay, silk and porcelain. You might be knowing about porcelain, right? Chinese porcelain is very famous, right? Porcelain dishes of the China. So silk and porcelain in large measure they used to export to the European world, and the Europeans used to export gold to China. Okay, but in between what happened is, in India, the Europeans found out about a very unique Indian agricultural product called opium. Okay, opium is a drug, okay, from which or whose derivative becomes heroin. Okay, usually opium is produced in large measure currently in Afghanistan. In India also opium is produced for the sake of medicinal use, right? Morphine is produced from it, heroin, all these things are produced from opium. And slowly what the Europeans did is, they wanted to stop this flow of gold to China. With this intention, what they did is, they started exporting this product opium from India to China. Okay, because for producing opium, the climatic conditions are very suitable in India. So they started exporting opium from India to China. And in return for opium, they used to, okay, take silk and porcelain to the European world. But in order to buy opium in India, they have to bring their own gold into India again, right? Or whatever gold is being exported to China, now it got redirected to India. Because in India they will come, they will buy opium, then export it to China for the sake of silk and porcelain. Are you following this, sir? This way, the gold which was earlier flowing to China also stopped and it started getting accumulated in India. Means one is for our own products, second is for the Chinese products also, the gold used to come and get accumulated in India. This trade is called triangular trade, primarily because there are three poles in this trade. You following this, sir? This can be represented in this format also. You can draw a triangle. Okay, you can place India here, Europe here, and China here. Yes, from China, there is a silk and porcelain are flowing towards Europe. From China, from Europe, gold is flowing to India. And from India, opium is flowing to China. Are you understanding this, sir? That is the reason why it is called as triangular trade. So in this triangular trade, again, India became a major destination for the global gold, and global gold used to come and get accumulated in India. So this is called as triangular trade. Okay, very simple, right? Triangular trade was happening in India's favor. Then along with that, okay, all the export items from India, okay, we have discussed about different regions which used to export each item I talked about. Now we will see, when trade and commerce has grown to such an extent, what happened is, naturally in India there emerged numerous commercial practices. Okay, commercial practices means what? The practices which are used for trade and commerce are usually known as commercial practices. Yes or no? So which are useful for trade and commerce are called as commercial practices. See, in fact, in this trade, for a single merchant to participate in the trade is very difficult, right? Because there are numerous regions that they have to cover, numerous places that they have to export. So usually what used to happen is, in India, trade and commerce was conducted through these systems which are known as guild. Guild means, okay, it is an association of traders and craftsmen is known as guild. Are you getting this, sir? Guild is an English term which is used for association of traders and craftsmen is called guild. And these guilds in India, they are known as Shreni. Okay, guilds in India are known as Shreni. Shrenis are associations of craftsmen, merchants. They together used to take part in trade and commerce. Are you following this, sir? Then, for the Shrenis to conduct trade and commerce, first, in order to form a Shreni itself, there is a need for some partnership agreements, right? Means that 2 to 3 merchants have to come together in order to take up a commercial activity. It means that there is a need for partnership agreement. Yes, usually the partnership agreement at that point of time, it used to be known as Shaja. Shaja means, Shaja is a Persian term for the partnership agreement which lies at the basis of Shreni. Are you following this, sir? Then, apart from Shaja, at that point of time, carrying gold or goods from one place to another is a very risky affair, right? Yes, so let's suppose one person wants to start from Bhubaneswar, he wants to go to Kolkata, let's suppose. Okay, but in between, they have to cross through many jungles, many forests, and at that point of time, roads were not very safe. Numerous tribal communities used to attack the merchants and traders, merchants when they are moving from one place to another, right? So it was very risky affair to carry money from one place to another. So in order to reduce this risk of money carrying, what they used to do is they used to practice a system which is known as hundi system. This is very, very important one. Hundi is the term which is used here, and usually this hundi system, it works in a very, very unique format. Listen to me. What happens is, right now you might be knowing about hawala system, right? Have you heard hawala? Hawala means moving money from one place to another, right? So similar to hawala system, the hundi system used to work. What the traders used to do is, let's suppose a trader is going from Bhubaneswar to Kolkata. He will go to a person called Shroff in Bhubaneswar. Okay, Shroff is the community who used to take up this, okay, hundi system. Shroff means this is a community name. You might be knowing about people like Tiger Shroff, right? Okay, they belong to the same community. Shroff means what? He is the person who takes deposits of money. He is a banker basically. So he takes the deposit of gold from the merchant, and he will give in return a written agreement to the merchant saying that you have deposited so and so amount of gold with me, so I am going to fulfill or return back this demand of gold to you wherever you are in the country. Okay, you can submit this bill, and in return you will get gold. Now the traveler without the gold, okay, happily with a single sheet of paper, he will start traveling from Bhubaneswar to Kolkata. He will go to Kolkata. There he will meet one more Shroff. Okay, so these Shroffs are distributed across the country. He will go to the Shroff and submit the bill, and immediately the Shroff, respecting the agreement made with a different Shroff, he is going to give the gold to the merchant. Are you following this, sir? So this system is known as hundi system, and it was done with the help of a community which is known as Shroff community. Is it clear, sir? Hundi is also known as, in English it is called as bill of exchange. Currently hawala system also runs the same way, right? In Dubai you go and submit money, then they will take one of the currency notes, tear it into half, okay, keep one with themselves, give one to you. Then you come back to India, and in India you go to the hawala agent and give your half note to him. Then they will try and match the notes. Okay, that is what is right now happening, right? It is a trust based system. So then they will give the money to you in India. So this same system was present during medieval times, which is known as hundi or hawala system, and it is called in English as bill of exchange system, and this system is mainly run by the Shroff community of India. Is it clear, sir? Yes. Then in trade and commerce, the Europeans, they used to have a lot of demand for the Indian textiles, particularly muslin, okay, calico. Huge orders they used to give. Let's suppose 1,000 pieces, 10,000 pieces they used to give, and naturally it is difficult to fulfill this huge demand or order, right? Yes, 10,000 pieces, one craftsman cannot produce. Multiple number of craftsmen should come together in order to produce 10,000 pieces of textile, right? Now, in order to ensure that this 10,000 pieces are produced, there emerged a unique system in India of production which is known as Dadni system. Okay, so these terms are very important. Dadni system has emerged, and Dadni here means, it is a very simply in English it is called as putting out system, and it was mainly run by a community who are known as Dalals. You might have known this term Dalal, right? Currently our stock exchange is also present in this street called Dalal Street. Okay, Dalals are the people who used to run this system which is known as Dadni system. So what they used to do is, they used to take some money as advance from the European trading companies. Okay, so let's suppose 10,000 pieces ke liye, let's suppose the cost is 5 lakh rupees, let's suppose. They take 2.5 lakh rupees even before the production of cloths. They will take 2.5 lakh rupees from the European trading company. Then they will reach out to nearly 100 craftsmen and give an order to each craftsman to produce 10 pieces of cloth, that's it. And after giving him a promise or asking him to produce 10 cloths, what these people do is, out of the 2.5 lakh rupees that they have collected from the European trading company, they will break down it into smaller parts and give to each craftsman an advance of money. And along with advance of money, they provide them with a cotton thread or silk thread with which they have to produce the goods. Are you following this, sir? Give an advance to the craftsman okay, reach out to numerous craftsmen, and finally the dalals are going to deal with the European trading company. They are going to procure the 10,000 pieces of cloth from the craftsmen and give it to the European trading company. This system is called Dadni system, and it is run by this community called dalals. The dalals have other names like Vyapari in South India. Okay, in South India they are known as Vyaparis. Okay, in Western India they are usually known as Dalal. Are you getting this, sir? Dalal or Vyapari, he runs this system called Dadni system, which is an advanced based system. Are you following this, sir? And here the craftsmen are going to produce the textiles in their own homes, right? Yes, after that they are going to bring it to the Dalal. Dalal will give it to the European trading company. Is it clear? Then apart from this Dadni system, there was also one unique system at that point of time, which is known as Advayus. Advayu is one more system which was present. And when it comes to Advayus are the people who are providers of logistics. Movement of goods from one place to another is a very hectic process at that point of time. So the charge of carrying the goods from one place to another usually was given to these people who are known as logistics persons, and they are known as Advayu. Okay, they are carters of goods. Carters means they will carry the goods from one place to another, then they are known as Advayu. Okay, this is a very important term, carters of goods. Similarly, the people who carry grains from one place to another, grains if they carry from one place to another, usually these people are known as Banjaras. This is a UPSC prelims question. From this exact slide, in the past 3 years there were two questions. One is with respect to Banjaras, the other one is with respect to this Hundi system. So these are some of the important commercial practices. One is grain carriers, Advayus, that is carters of goods. Then the next one is Dadni Hundi system, partnership agreement called Shaja. Then along with that, guild is known as Shreni. And in order to conduct this international trade and commerce, these Shrenis, they used to establish agency houses in foreign countries. Agency houses means the places through which they used to export their goods and import their goods to are known as agency houses. Agency houses are just the offices of the Shrenis which are established in foreign countries, and numerous Shrenis in India used to have offices in foreign countries, particularly in Southeast Asia, China, then along with that Arabian world, Africa. In every place Indians used to have agency houses of their own, and it is through these agency houses itself that Indian religions they started spreading in Southeast Asia. Are you following what I'm trying to say? Yes, that is the reason why in Southeast Asia there is a significant influence of Hinduism, right? Okay, so the world's largest Hindu temple is built in Cambodia, that is Angkor Wat. Yes, who built that? I mean the kings built it, but how did they convert it to Hinduism? It is primarily because of the influence of these Shrenis they converted into Hinduism. Are you following this, sir? So it means that these traders, apart from carrying goods, they also carried Indian culture also to foreign lands. Are you following this? So Shrenis used to have agency houses, then there was a partnership agreement, Hundi, Dadni, Advayu, and along with that Banjara. So these are some important keywords. Then along with that, one unique thing about medieval commercial practices is there was a very well developed insurance system during medieval times in India. The insurance system is required for trade and commerce, right? So let's suppose some risk happens, then there should be insurance to fall back upon. So there was a very well developed insurance system also during medieval times for the sake of trade and commerce, and this insurance is usually known as avak. Avak means insurance. So only when commerce develops very well, then only insurance will come into picture, right? Yes, otherwise insurance will not be there. So a very well developed commercial system is present which had an insurance of its own, which is known as avak system. So this way numerous commercial practices, numerous goods were exported from India, and this is the situation of Indian economy in 18th century. Is it alright, sir? Is it making sense? Now shall we have a look at the slide once? Okay, same terms, it would be a repetition. Okay, so just see this. Economy, Indian economy, half of global manufacturing GDP. It has been printed a little wrongly there. It is global manufacturing GDP. 2/3 of global trade it used to pass through India. I explained India functioned as an entry port, right? Entry port concept I have explained, port of exchange. Okay, then India was also an economic house, particularly in manufacturing goods, and important regions which are associated with various goods are, see this, calico, coarse variety of cotton from Calicut region. Yes. Then second one is muslin. It is exported from Dhaka and Murshidabad. It is a fine variety of cotton. Then patola, it is silk embroidered with gold. Then next one is kalamkari, that is hand painted cloth from Machilipatnam or Mausila. Okay, the same region's name is Mausila too. Then indigo dye is exported from this region called Bayana region from India. So Bayana is the major export from indigo region. At that point of time, there never used to be any synthetic dyes. All the dyes are only natural dyes. So they exported the natural dyes to foreign countries. Then saltpeter, that is cooling agent plus gunpowder, that is potassium nitrate I told you, and it was mainly exported from Bihar to Great Britain. Okay, so these are the major items which are exported. Then there is one item which is not given here, chintz. You write down. Chintz, CHINTZ. Told about it earlier too. Chintz, CHINTZ. 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 It's called chintz. Okay. So chintz is one of the major export item at the point of time, and this is exported from Golconda. Right now, exported from Golconda. Okay, Golconda is nothing but Hyderabad state. Okay, Hyderabad state itself is called Golconda, and okay, there you write it is a block printed cotton variety. Okay, block printed cotton variety. Block printed cotton variety, and printing is done through. And the printing is done through chappa. Okay, CHAPPA. Printing is done through chappa. 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 Chappa is that block. CHAPPA. Chappa. The printing is done through chappa. Okay, chappa is the block. Now, so this is one. Then European trading companies established numerous factories and forts in India, okay, to export Indian goods to Europe. Okay, to export Indian goods to Europe, they established numerous factories and forts, and it is the riches of India along with the fall of Constantinople. I'll explain this topic again today only with the Portuguese entry of India. What is this fall of Constantinople? Led to search for direct sea route, which was finally discovered by Vasco da Gama in 1498. I'll talk about it. Then the main agricultural exports are sugar, paddy, spices, salt and horticulture products. There used to be huge demand for Indian horticulture products too in the Western world, because the tropical fruits of India are in great demand in European world. Okay, particularly fruits like mango and other fruits, they were in great demand. Then this is a previous year UPSC question. So this was asked in 2017. Okay, so 2017 this question has come. Just see this, kalamkari painting refers to. Okay, same thing, right? We talked about it just now. So it is a hand patterned content textile from South India. Is it clear? That is kalamkari. Yes. So without knowing it, it would be very difficult to answer, because all of them are similar. Okay, where it originates from. Okay, what is it about? We need to know. Okay, otherwise other options, see a handmade drawing on bamboo handicrafts in Northeast India. Okay, so see the options, they are very close by. Then a block painted woolen cloth in Western Himalayan region of India, a hand painted decorative silk cloth in Northwest India. Okay, that is those are the options which have been given, but the answer for this question is hand painted cotton textiles from South India. Yes. Then commercial practices. Okay, in your handout also they have been given in a list format only, no need to write. Just see this, new commercial practices. One is hundi. Hundi means bill of exchange. Yes, bill of exchange, traditional mode of exchange. Okay, and so there you write, hundi system is run by shroffs of India. You write it down. Hundi system, you write it down. If you had the handout, you could have written there itself. It would be more simple. Okay, so hundis, write it down. Hundi system is run by shroff, SHROFF. Okay, shroffs they are known as, are exported by shroffs. Then grain carriers are called banjaras. You wrote it down. Okay, hundi system is run by shroffs. Then grain carriers are called banjaras. Insurance is called avak system. Partnership is called Shaja, and agency houses in different parts of the world for the Shrenis of India. Shreni means guild. Okay, Shreni or guild means association of either craftsman or merchant is known as Shreni. Okay, write it down. Okay, so if you did not write, please write it down. Shreni or guild is Shreni. 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 Shreni or guild. Guild. Guild is association of craftsmen or merchants. Okay, merchants association or craftsmen association is called Shreni. Then next one is, there was a system called Dadni based system, which works on the basis of these people called dalals. Okay, and shroffs also were involved in this, and usually the shroffs are also money changers. Okay, and the others who used to run this Dadni system is called Baniya and Vyapari. So three communities are involved here. Dalal is one, Vyapari or Baniya. So usually Baniya means merchant, right? Okay, Baniya, Vyapari or Dalal. These three people, they used to function, or you write it down. Write it down. Dalal or Vyapari or Baniya. Dalal, Vyapari or Baniya used to play the role of middleman in trade. Okay, through an advanced based system called Dadni system. Then there were carters of goods. Carters means logistic service, right? You might be knowing about VRL. Okay, logistic service, they take goods from one place, dispatch them to other place. Blue Dart. Okay, so right now there are many logistic services, right? Similar services were provided at that point of time by people who are known as Advayus. Then along with that, there is some state established industries are also present, which are known as Karkhanas. I forgot to tell about it. So Karkhana means a state set up industry in India is called Karkhana. Okay, usually it is the Hindi term or Persian term for industry, right? Is it used regularly in Odisha? No. Okay, Karkhana, you write it down. Karkhana is the state set up industries. State set up industries are called Karkhana. Karkhana. Khana. Karkhana. Then next one is prominent urban craftsmen are called Ustad. I told about this, right? Okay, Ustad is the prominent craftsman, and I told about it already. Okay, Ustad is the prominent urban craftsman. It is present in the handout too. Then next one is, there was also a postal system in India too, and the postal system is called Dak Chowki system. Okay, very prominent one, Dak Chowki system. Then agriculture. During this period, many new crops were introduced into India. During the end of medieval period and during the start of modern period, numerous new crops have been introduced into India by the Portuguese who came into India. See, the Portuguese, apart from coming to India, they also explored South American region. South American region has very thick jungles of its own, and in these thick jungles, they came across numerous new agricultural products which they brought to India, because Indian climate is also similarly tropical climate like South America. Yes, South America is a tropical climate, Indian climate is also similar. And the Portuguese, when they were coming into India, they brought numerous new agricultural products from South America to India. And these agricultural products, they range from potato, tomato, okay, chili. The main ingredients of today's diet of Indians, it is all okay brought by the Portuguese to India. The most significant impact of the Portuguese in India is they completely altered the dietary pattern of India. Okay, they are the ones who brought in potato, chili, tomato, pineapple, guava is one fruit that they have brought in. Papaya is also brought in by them. Then along with that, they also brought in the technique of grafting into India. Grafting of crops, I think you might be knowing, right? So wherein you cut the stem of one crop and place it into the stem or into the pistil of another crop. Okay, so this is how usually grafting is done, right? So through this grafting technology, and also they brought in numerous agricultural products into India like potato, tomato, chili. then pineapple, guava, papaya. I given a long list of these things. Cashew nut is also brought by them. All these products were introduced into India by the Portuguese, and these new agricultural products, it made Indian agriculture even more prosperous. Is it alright? Now see this. So tobacco, rubber, potato, chili, tomato, opium and sugarcane, some products are given here. Later I'll discuss about it too. Then they also brought in new grafting technology also into India. Then there was a tripartite trade. I talked about this. I've given the diagram also. Opium. China had huge demand for opium. India became a sink for gold and silver. Okay, so this is the situation of India economically in 18th century. This is showing a sign of prosperity, right? Yes. So now, will you be able to write a decent answer on the basis of the economic conditions, sir? Even 15 marker question also I think you will be able to answer here. Okay, not just 10 marker. You will be able to write a 15 marker answer too. Now, the next one is, we are going to discuss about the social condition of India. So listen to me. I'll explain the social condition of India first, then we will see the handout. Okay. Now, when it comes to the social condition of India, social condition of India in 18th century, okay, India had a very unique social system. In fact, the Europeans, when they came to India, they were shocked by looking at the Indian society. There were numerous practices which are unique to India, not present anywhere in the world. Okay, and Indian society, it looked like a very different kind of society for the Europeans. In fact, just like okay, today normal Indians look at the tribals of India, similarly the Europeans used to look at India as a unique okay, museum of social practices. And of these social practices, the most unique social practice of India is its treatment of women under this system called patriarchy, right? But we're knowing about patriarchy. Patriarchy is nothing but it is a power system which gives all the rights to men and obligations to women. Means that all the privileges will be enjoyed by men, whereas all the obligations will be given to women. That kind of system is called patriarchal system. Even now Indian society is patriarchal, right? So in fact, this patriarchy is something which attracted the Europeans towards India. In fact, in India, the treatment of women through religion and custom is very harsh. And one of the most harshest of practices which was done in India at that point of time is sati. That is an outcome of patriarchy. In fact, just don't consider sati to be a practice which is conducted in hiding or in secrecy. Usually every sati in India is a social feast. What used to happen is, just before conducting sati, there used to be a big procession in the village. Then after that, usually most of the times sati was conducted on young brides. Usually men used to have multiple number of wives, of which the youngest bride is usually selected for the sake of sati, and after taking her in procession into the funeral ground, there accompanied by trumpets. Okay, what used to happen is, the young brides, they did not know about this, or they did not have enough understanding, because most of them used to be 8 to 10 years of age. And they used to be deliberately drugged by the society in order to tolerate the pain of the burns, and after drugging them, they used to make them sit on the funeral pyre and they used to lit it. And sometimes what used to happen is, some brides, they used to stand up from the funeral pyre and run away because of the burning sensation. Then people used to beat them with sticks and throw them back into the funeral pyre. This is a detailed account which was given by the Portuguese. This was the standard practice in India at that point of time, which is nothing but barbaric, right? It is almost barbaric practice. And sati as a practice, it was very prominent in eastern parts of India, and in northwest India also it was very prominent. Are you following this, sir? So this kind of practice was seen in India, which is a worst emanation of sati. Nowhere else in the world, okay, we will be able to see this kind of practice. So sati is one example of patriarchy. Then apart from sati, in India, the patriarchy also used to confine women's freedoms, right? In most situations, women were confined to the private spaces of life. They were not exposed to education or any economic activity. Okay, there used to be practices like ghungat and parda. Okay, ghungat is covering half the face and parda is full face covering. So both among Muslims there used to be parda, and among Hindus there used to be ghungat. Then along with that, as part of this patriarchal system also, there is the problem of polygamy. Okay, polygamy is also a standard practice at the point of time. Don't think of polygamy just like having, okay, more number of wives, that's it. You should not consider it that way. In fact, in polygamy, there used to be many unique practices of polygamy in India. One such practice is called Kulin polygamy, particularly practiced in the Bengal province. And in Kulin polygamy, each Brahmin male during his lifetime used to marry minimum to minimum of 70 to 80 wives, because they used to consider that marrying more number of women will increase their spiritual merit. Are you following this, sir? So this kind of practice was there, which is known as Kulin polygamy, was practiced in Bengal province. And this way, polygamy is also one of the major social evils of India. So confining of freedom, no education, no economic activity, veiling of faces, parda, then along with that sati as a practice, polygamy. Okay, and even in some cases, whenever wars used to happen, there also used to be the practice of, you might be knowing about Jauhar. Okay, so it was made much more prominent by this movie Padmavat. Okay, so Jauhar ceremony is shown there, right? And don't think of Jauhar as a voluntary suicide by all the women. Sometimes it also used to be a forced practice too. Okay, sometimes it used to be forced practice, but it was romanticized by Sanjay Leela Bansali. Okay, he showed it like all the women voluntarily walking into funeral pyre. Okay, but that was not the case. Sometimes it was also a forced practice too. So this kind of Jauhar was also practiced. So this way, patriarchy is one of the strongest institutions in India at the point of time. Then along with patriarchy, Indian society, it was also divided in a vertical format. Very important. Vertical format, the society was divided into numerous varnas and castes, right? So vertical division means there should be a hierarchy. So top bottom, yes, top down approach is there. This way, the society was divided in a vertical format. And in this vertical format of division of society, the system which is known as Varna Jati system was very prominent one. Varna is the fourfold classification according to the Vedas in India. Then after that, from ancient time itself, there emerged a unique institution in India called Jati. Jati means caste. The term caste is given by the Portuguese first. By studying the Indian social classification, they are the ones who attributed this term caste to Jati in India. But now this caste term is the very prominent term in India, right? But originally it is given by the Portuguese to India. So this way the society was divided vertically according to Varna Jati system. And along with that, there also used to be, okay, very prominent practice of untouchability in India. Okay, particularly against classes who are considered in traditional Hinduism as Panchama. Panchama means these are the people who are considered to be fifth Varna, usually not included in the Chaturvarna classification. Panchama means fifth Varna. Okay, Panchama, it is usually considered as untouchability as a practice was prevalent in India. And don't think of untouchability just as not touching the person. It used to be a very prominent system in India. And here in untouchability, apart from not touching the person, in some states of India, there also used to be a practice called distance pollution. Under this distance pollution, okay, a lower caste person has to maintain some feet of distance from an upper caste person. So 32 feet from a Brahmin, 24 from a Kshatriya. Okay, this way there used to be a concept called distance pollution too. And along with that, in untouchability, there was also a practice wherein the lower caste of India were not supposed to take up or touch the agricultural equipment too. It means that there was untouchability against plow. They should not touch the bulls. Okay, this way there used to be multiple forms of untouchability present in India, and it was also one of the starkest and unique institutions which was present in India. Is it clear, sir? So untouchability is there, Varna Jati is there, vertical divisions are there. Then along with these vertical divisions, Indian society is also divided in horizontal fashion. Horizontal fashion means what? So there is no top to bottom approach here. In fact, India was divided into numerous language groups, right? That can be considered as a horizontal division of society. Apart from language based division, there is also division on the basis of religion of people. Hindus were there, Muslims were there, okay, then Jain, Buddhist, Sikh. So this way these are also horizontal divisions in society. Yes, vertical means top to down. Horizontal means, okay, all are equal but they are different groups. So naturally there are numerous horizontal groups. And because of these vertical and horizontal divisions, is it easy to build a sense of nationalism among Indians? People are more attached to their caste, religion, language than the nation, right? Yes. So building a sense of nationalism among such a divided population is very difficult. In fact, the Britishers have taken advantage of this vertical and horizontal divisions in Indian society to occupy India by following the policy of divide and rule. Are you understanding this, sir? So society was divided vertically, horizontally, and within home there was a strong system of patriarchy. Yes, patriarchy is there, horizontal, vertical divisions. Now, apart from this, Indian society in 18th century, it is dominated by the idea of medievalism. Medievalism means what? What is medieval? Religion should be dominant force. And India in 18th century, it was still living in medievalism, where religion dominated every walk of life of an individual. Okay, which time he has to wake up, which time he has to go to sleep, how many rituals he has to perform per day, okay, and what kind of practices, economic activities are permitted for people. All of these things are determined by religion, right? So it means that religion was still a very strong force in India during 18th century. And in fact, because of this dominance of religion, there used to be a sanction against foreign travel by the upper caste of India. You know about this foreign travel ban? In India, if an upper caste person, if he travels from one country to another, or if he leaves the Indian subcontinent, naturally he is going to lose his varna, and along with the varna, he will also lose his religion. There is a clear-cut ban in many of the Dharma Shastras from the upper caste people in India taking up to foreign travel. Are you following this, sir? Foreign travel, there is ban. Then apart from ban on foreign travel, one more thing that was unique about Indian society is, in India, the religion was dominated by the priestly classes. Priestly classes used to dominate the religion, and usually they used to promote ignorance among the masses of people, and fear and ignorance, they used to dominate the mental outlook of people. Whenever they are sick, they used to carry their sick children, family members running towards the priest. The priest, rather than treating the person, he used to subscribe one or the other ritual, or sacrifice which has to be conducted. Then, by shelling out a lot of money, people used to perform these rituals and sacrifices. And after performing the rituals and sacrifices, also naturally the disease will not die out, right? Will it die out? Just by performing a sacrifice, will the disease die out, sir? No. So naturally, this promoted a sense of ignorance and fear among the people, and priestly classes used to dominate every walk of life at that point of time. Are you following this, sir? Even now, so if you go to a priest asking him about your future, sir, I have started preparing for UPSC, is this there in my Kundalini? You go and ask him. Then he will say that you have to do some Shanti, one puja or the other puja, then only you will clear. Then immediately, rather than studying, you will push aside your books, go running to the priest, conduct the sacrifice, right? I'm just joking, but I think you understand this, right? So this is the standard format of society even today. So in medieval times, it was even more dominant. There was priestly class domination in every walk of life, and apart from priestly class domination, India also had this system of polytheism. Belief in numerous gods, as many Indians, so many gods. Now the number has increased to 130 crore. So many gods are there. Polytheism is also one of the standard practice in India at the point of time. Polytheism primarily used to promote conflicts between people who believed in different gods. The people who believed in one god will start fighting against the other god. So polytheism was also a standard practice in India in 18th century. Then naturally, one more thing we need to study about in society is the education system. Because education system, it signifies the progress in society, or how the future generation is going to be. It is determined by the education system, right? Are you following what I'm trying to say? So in education system, if you see, then there used to be some schools called Pathshalas and Tols. Pathshala is Hindu center of secondary learning. Tol is Hindu center of primary learning. And Tol is also sometimes known as Chatuspati. Chatuspati, Tol or Pathshala. So these are the Hindu centers of learning. And in education system, the primary instruction to the school students is an instruction for learning the Sanskrit language. Are you following this, sir? Then apart from learning Sanskrit language, the other thing which was done in the schools is the school instruction majorly revolved around the religious texts of India. Okay, education, rather than breaking this social system, it is strengthening the social system. Are you following this, sir? So you are learning Sanskrit, then along with that your education mainly revolves around religion. Then apart from this, when it comes to the Islamic learning is centered around maktabs and madrasas. Maktab is the Muslim center of primary learning, madrasa is secondary learning center, and in these places also there is dominance of Persian and Arabic language. Along with that, studies of Quran are the dominant subjects in maktabs and madrasas too. Are you following this, sir? And that too, the Hindu education model or system, it was not permissible to the lower caste of India, or only the upper caste were permitted to enter into these educational systems. And primarily most of the education used to occur as Gurukul based education, right? Yes. And if a person studies in these schools, what occupation will he be suitable for? Either he can become a priest or a Maulvi. Other than that, any other occupation, is it feasible for this person? Teacher. Oh yes. Okay. So teacher, same learning, again you continue giving the same learning to the next generation. Teacher, priest or Maulvi. These are the only three occupations which are open to the people who are studied in this education model. Are you following what I am trying to say, sir? Now, apart from this education model which is present for the elite sections of the society, there used to be a mass-based, skill-based training for Indians. Usually skill education is called occasional education, right? Okay, occasional education. Okay, not occasional, occasional. Okay, occasional education is, okay, like the way we study right now. Okay, sometime whenever occasion comes, we study, right? Rather than that, occasional education is nothing but skill-based training. And under this skill-based training, what used to happen is every household in India, it used to impart the skills of the family to the next generation. Are you following this, sir? It means that a potter trains his son in order to become the next potter. Okay, let's suppose a textile weaver will train his son and a daughter also in the same craft. Okay, are you following what I'm trying to say? So it means that there was a mass-based occasional education, and this occasional education played a very important role in economic dominance of India. Yes or no? Even though our education model, elite education model is bad, the mass-based education system was relevant for the society. It was able to make Indian craftsmen experts in their own craft. That is why we are economically very powerful. Are you following this, sir? Mass-based occasional education used to happen along with this system of Pathshalas, Madrasatols and Chatuspatis. Are you following this? So these are the important centers of Indian learning. So this is how our education system used to be. But majority of the Indians, they used to believe in, okay, black magic. Okay, so then apart from black magic, they used to believe in supernatural powers. Rather than depending on their natural capabilities, they always used to look up to God in order to improve their lives. Are you getting this, sir? So rather than natural powers, supernatural powers are given higher significance. So this is how our society used to be organized at this point of time. Is it clear? Education system. Then along with that, the only science that Indians were interested in is, I forgot to tell about this, astrology. Okay, so primarily astrology is for the sake of finding out the influence of planetary bodies on human beings, right? Okay, aapka graha kaha hai? Okay, where your graha is there, which planet is in which position, what will it have an impact on your life? All of these things were major items of study in India at that point of time. Because of our excessive interest in astrology, it also triggered an Indian interest into astronomy too. Because only when planetary bodies, where they are present, if they are known only, then only astrology is possible, right? So that is the reason why there was also an interest in astronomy, and the representation of Indian interest in astronomy is clearly seen in a person called, okay, Savai Jai Singh. Savai Jai Singh, who is the one who is responsible for establishing the city of Jaipur. So he established numerous astrological observatories across India. Nearly in 5 centers he has constructed astronomical observatories which are known as Jantar Mantar. You might be knowing about Jantar Mantars, right? In Delhi they are there, Jaipur, Mathura. So in nearly 5 places he has constructed these astronomical observatories. Okay, and he wrote a book on astronomy which is known as Jij-e Muhammad Shah, because Muhammad Shah was the ruler at the point of time, the same Muhammad Shah Rangila, and he wrote a book on astronomy and dedicated it to the Mughal emperor called Muhammad Shah. So that is the reason why the book is called Jij-e Muhammad Shahi, and it was written by this person called Sawai Jai Singh, who was interested in astronomy for the sake of astrology. Okay, astronomy is the study of space. Astrology is study of the space-based objects on, study of the influence of space-based objects on human life is called astrology. Are you following this? So clear-cut definitions are given there in the handout. If not, I'll dictate them. But this is how Indian society was there in 18th century of India. Is it clear? Is it alright, sir? Let's have a look at the handout. Yes. Okay. So just see this. So social conditions of India. Number one is society was divided into varnas and caste. Okay. Caste is a term given by Portuguese to jatis of India. Write this down. Caste is a term attributed to Indian jatis by the Portuguese. Okay, Indian jatis by the Portuguese, first one. Then there was deep-seated social inequalities. Society was both hierarchical and patriarchal. Education is confined to literary and religious field in pathshalas and tols. Pathshala is Hindu centers of primary learning. Tol or Chatuspati is Hindu center of higher education. The term Chatuspati is not there in the handout. Please write it down. Chatuspati is Hindu center of higher learning. The center of higher learning is Chatuspati. Higher learning is Chatuspati. Then Maktab is center of primary learning. Madrasa is for the sake of higher education. It's given there, right, in the handout. Now, absence of scientific temperament and adoption of Western culture. Okay, adoption of Western culture was also there. Is it clear? No adoption of Western culture. We did not adopt to the Western culture, and at the same time, okay, our society is also lacking scientific temperament, right? So you write one statement. Indian society is dominated by medievalism, Okay, medievalism, i.e. religion played a important role in society. Medievalism, that is, religion played a dominant role in society. Okay, now I just forgot to tell about one thing in Indian society. Okay, I'll need to explain this. Just listen to me. It is important from the UPSC prelims point of view, and even for optionals also this system is very important. In fact, during medieval times and ancient times, Indian villagers, they used to have this system which is known as self-sufficient village economic model. Okay, so this later day Gandhi called as Gram Swaraj in India, but this was present in ancient and medieval times in India, which is known as self-sufficient village-based economics. And in this self-sufficient village-based economics, it primarily functions through a system which is known as Balutedari system, or it is also known as Jajmani system. So Jajmani or Balutedari system, it is usually known as, okay, you can write down parallelly, Balutedari, D-A-R-I, Balutedari, and Jajmani. Okay, Jajmani system, it is called as Jajmani system, J-E-J-M-A-N-I, Jajmani system, or it is known as Balutedari system. So these are the two names for the system, either Balutedari or Jajmani system it is known as. Particularly in Eastern India, in Western India, in Maharashtra, it is known as this Balutedari system. In rest of India, it is usually called as Jajmani system. And this system in South India has one more name. It is also called as Iyengar system. Same thing. Same thing, different places, different names. Okay, Western India, Balduttadari. In rest of India, Jejmani. South India, it is called as Iyengar system. Okay, so listen to me. How this system works, I'll explain. Okay, based on that, we can build our concept. See, in this system, what used to happen is, in every village, there used to be 8 to 12 service castes, they are known as. 8 to 12 service castes used to be there in every village. Okay, they ranged from craftsmen in the village. Then along with craftsmen means the person who produces textiles. Along with that, there used to be one blacksmith in every village. Okay, blacksmith means the person who works with iron. One wood carver used to be there. Okay, one person who is a washerman will be present, or washerman family is also present in the village. So this way, nearly 8 to 12 service castes used to be present in India. Are you listening to me? Now, these service castes, what they used to do is, they used to perform their services for the sake of village, okay, without expecting any money for their services. It means that whatever work they are supposed to do, they are going to do the work without expecting even a single rupee as part of their payment. Are you following this, sir? They will do their work freely for all the people who are present in the village. Okay, the barber will shave the heads of every person without charging even a single penny. Washerman will wash the clothes of the entire village without charging any money. The blacksmith is going to work without charging any money. So every service caste, it used to perform its functions without charging any money from the villagers. Listen to me. Now, what happens? They are not charging any money. They are providing their services as a free gift to society. In return, what the society used to do is, at the end of every agricultural season, from whatever the farmers of the village produce, let's suppose a farmer is producing 10 bags of rice. Of these 10 bags, what he is going to do is, he is going to give away 4 bags to the Jejmans. Okay, so rather than paying them frequently or every day for every transaction, the service caste will provide their services as a gift to the farmers, and in return, the farmers are going to give a return gift to the service caste at the end of every agricultural season. And here is there any requirement for money? Is money being involved here? No money. In fact, okay, it is a kind of system which is based on the concept called reciprocity. Reciprocity means what? I give a gift to you, in return I expect a gift from you. It's not barter exactly. Barter means immediate exchange should happen. Okay, barter means usually immediate exchange happens. Now this system is called reciprocity based system. Okay, this is how usually the typical marriage gifts in India are also given. Okay, so for every gift that you give, immediately there will be an inherent clause to return back a gift of similar value to you during your marriage. Is it right or wrong? Okay, so that system is called a reciprocity based system, and here there is no need for money, and every service caste, its sustenance is guaranteed by the community, right? Yes or no? Every service caste life is guaranteed by the community, because they are going to get the grains for their sustenance from the village community. Okay, this is what we are calling now as universal basic income. Every person should be at least given some money. But in India, from ancient and medieval times only this system is present. This is a very good system, right? Yes or no? Okay, but it is good for the entire village community, but definitely the castes which are involved in these professions, they cannot shift their profession. They have to stay in the same profession and work in the same profession. They can't shift their profession, good or bad, they are going to remain in the same profession. And this system, it continues, okay, it continued till 20-30 years back also, wherein in villages the service castes provide the services, and in return they are going to get grains from the families of farmers in Indian villages. Are you following this, sir? This unique system of social organization is called Balduttadari, Jejmani or Iyengar system. When Gandhi was talking about India's return back to Gram Swaraj, he was talking about the same system, wherein the villages need not depend on the outside world. All the services which are required for the village will be produced within the village. Yes or no? Is there any requirement for the village to go outside? Nothing. Every product that they need is produced in the village itself. So that is the reason why Gandhi used to say that India lives in its villages, because he likes this system. He wanted to re-establish a similar system in post-independent India. But one of the major critique of this system is none other than Dr. B.R. Ambedkar. He used to say that where India lives, the Dalit dies. It means that the same places where village is there, primarily because okay, all these functions are done by the lower caste of India. Yes, they are not getting any occupational freedom. They have to remain in the same profession. And there is also caste-based discrimination also here. Are you following this, sir? So Gandhi had a very romantic view of Indian village, whereas Dr. B.R. Ambedkar's view was more realistic. I'm just giving an insight into what we are going to discuss later in conflict between Dr. B.R. Ambedkar and Gandhiji. Are you following this, sir? So this is the system which is called as Balutedari, Jejimani or Iyengar system it is called. So, and in this system there are 8 to 12 service castes, and they provide services to the village on the basis of reciprocity, and the village community is going to take care of their livelihood. Is it alright? So just please have a look at this section now. So village society is based on self-sufficiency, okay, based on this system called Jejimani system. Please write it down. So you write those 3 statements: Jejimani or Iyengar or Balutedari system. Balutedari system, in which you write it down, in which 8 to 12 service castes, 8 to 12 service castes provide the services to village community, okay, based on the principle of reciprocity. RECI, pro, city, CITY. Okay, RECI, pro, city, reciprocity. Reciprocity means, in bracket you write reciprocity. Okay, gift exchange mechanism you write. Gift exchange mechanism. Okay, stop. So this forms the basis for, this system forms the basis for, right now, this system forms the basis for the self-sufficiency of Indian villages, which Gandhiji used to call as Gram Swaraj. Gram. Gram means village. Swaraj means self-sufficiency. Same thing. Is it clear, sir? So is it making sense, this Jejimani or Iyengar system or Balutedar system, how it works? Are you understanding this, sir? The service castes are going to provide their services free of cost, and the farmers are going to take care of their sustenance. Yes? So this system is called Jejimani system. It was present in Indian villages. Then see the next one. Religion was dominated by the priestly class and were based on, okay, obscurantism. Obscurantism means it is a term usually used against rationality. Okay, whenever rationality is absent, it is considered to be obscuranist. Okay, so just I am introducing one word to you. Okay, so obscurantism means nothing but it is a system which is against rational thinking. Now, next one is, there are practices like sati, polygamy was there. I talked about Kulin polygamy, right? Then apart from Kulin polygamy, there was also a system of parda and ghungat. So there is restriction on freedom of women. Society was divided both horizontally and vertically. There is no concept of nationalism in India at that point of time. There is no scientific education, and the society is dominated by hierarchical elements. And you write this down, it's not given there. Only science Indians were interested in is, only science Indians were interested in, it's not there in the handout, please write it down. Only science Indians were interested in is astronomy. Only science Indians were interested in is astronomy. Astronomy for the purpose of astrology. For the purpose of astronomy, for the purpose of astrology. Astronomy means study of extraterrestrial objects is called astronomy. Astrology is studying their influence on human being is known as astrology. Is it clear, sir? So every day in the mornings, even now, the TV channels are dominated by astrologers, right? Yes or no? So Indian fascination with astrology did not die out. Even now it continues, right? Most of the people wear, okay, so this colored stones in order to change the influence of planetary objects on them. Okay, then they usually tie some, okay, threads, sacred threads to their hand. So all of these things are astrology, right? Yes. So please stop. A similar interest is shown by Savai Jai Singh. A similar interest was shown by Savai Jai Singh, S-A-W-A-I, Savai Jai Singh. Okay, he is also later associated with the establishment of the city of Jaipur, Pink City. Okay, but Savai Jai Singh established five astronomical, you write, don't write astrological, astronomical observatories, 5 astrological observatories at Delhi, Banaras, Jaipur, Mathura and Ujjain. Please write them down. Delhi, Mathura, Jaipur, Banaras and Ujjain. These are the 5 places where he established his astronomical observatories. Okay. Did you write them down? Because it's not given in the handout, I am dictating this section. Okay, 5 astrological observatories: Delhi, Banaras, Jaipur, Mathura and Ujjain. Okay, 5 astrological observatories. Okay, and wrote a book called, okay, you take down the name of this book, Jij-e Muhammad Shahi, it is called as. Wrote a book called Jij-e Muhammad Shahi. Jij-e Muhammad Shahi. Book on astronomy. Means Jij-e Muhammad Shahi. This can be asked as a prelims question. Okay, very good question at it. They can phrase a good question on the basis of it. Jij-e Muhammad Shahi. Because when Savai Jai Singh was ruling in Rajasthan, the Mughal emperor was Muhammad Shah. That is the reason why he wrote the book in his name called Jij-e Muhammad Shahi. Is it alright, sir? Okay, so this is the story of the social conditions of India in 18th century. So it clearly reflects a man who is immensely rich on one side, but politically he is very weak and socially he is ignorant. So India was on the cusp of being exploited by the Europeans. Okay, and that is what happened to India immediately after 18th century. Okay, in the mid of 18th century itself, the exploitation started. It took full swing in 19th century. So we will talk about that economic exploitation later. So, but you understood the political, social and economic conditions of 18th century India, right? Yes. Now, the next topic that we are going to move to is advent of Europeans. In fact, in the handout, ideologies is given first. After that, advent of European section is given. I think it is the second handout. Please open that in your phones once. Just open the section on advent of Europeans. Second handout, right? Same handout. Okay, page number 12. Okay, page number 12, same handout it seems. Advent of Europeans section is given. So first I'll discuss advent of Europeans. Then along with discussing advent of Europeans, I'll give a brief introduction to ideologies today. We'll discuss the ideologies not once but twice or thrice. Okay, primarily because it's a little, okay, based on understanding. First I'll discuss advent of Europeans today, and the last 15-20 minutes I'll introduce you guys to, okay, the topic of ideologies, and tomorrow we will pick it up again. And okay, not once, twice or thrice, we will slowly, okay, try and understand ideologies. Is it clear? Now let's take up this topic of advent of Europeans. Thank you. So when it comes to the topic of advent of Europeans, there is a backstory for the advent of Europeans into India. First I'll discuss the backstory, then the mechanism of entry of Europeans into India, where they came, when they came, okay, what did they come for, and what did they do to India. We are going to discuss all these things as part of this topic called advent of Europeans. So when it comes to advent of Europeans, there are some specific historical factors which made the Europeans to enter into India. See, during ancient and medieval times too, Indians used to export a lot many products from India to the European world. Okay, but the export, it primarily used to occur in ancient and medieval times through three routes. One route is the Indian products used to enter into the European world through this route called Silk Route. Okay. Then the other or the second major trading method through which Asian products or Indian products used to go to the European world is, okay, so let's suppose this is, okay, the Indian coastline. Then from Indian coastline the goods used to, okay, there is big continent called Africa here, right? Yes. Then along with that there is a Arabian Peninsula here. That is the reason why it has the name of Arabian Sea, right? So what used to happen is the Indian goods from India, okay, this is, let's suppose, alright, this is Silk Route, okay, so this is Arabian Peninsula, and so between Africa and Arabian Peninsula there is a small narrow sea, right, which is known as Red Sea. You know about it, right? I'll show it in map to later. So what Indians used to do is they used to export their goods to Red Sea, and from Red Sea some of the goods they used to take land route in Arabian Peninsula, and in Arabian Peninsula there used to be numerous caravans. Okay, caravans means the people who carry goods from one place to another are usually called as goods caravans, right? So the Arabians, they used to carry the goods which have come into Red Sea. Okay, from here they used to go and join into the Silk Route. Then one more trading route is Indians used to export their goods to Persian Gulf region. You know Persian Gulf? Persian Gulf is present on the other side of Arabian Peninsula, right? So between Iran and Arabian Peninsula there is Persian Gulf. So Indians used to carry their goods to Persian Gulf, and in Persian Gulf the goods are taken over by the Persians, and the Persians are again going to join into the Silk Route through which the goods used to get travelled or transported to European world. And one of the major destination for all the three channels of goods is this city called Constantinople. This is the only city in the world which is present on two continents, right? Okay, so one part of Constantinople is present in Europe, one other part is present in Asia. So Constantinople is the destination for all these three trade routes, and through these trade routes only what used to happen is from India, spices, cotton textiles, silk, all the European products or all the products that are in need in European world, they used to be exported from these routes, and all the routes they used to join together at this place called Constantinople. And Constantinople is the second capital of an empire in Europe at the point of time called Holy Roman Empire. Holy Roman Empire, it was the second capital. Its first capital is none other than this place called Vienna. You know Vienna? It is the capital of Austria today. So the second capital of this empire is Constantinople. And this trade, it continued unhindered from almost ancient times to, okay, till medieval times it used to continue unhindered. But during medieval times, what happened is Islam as a religion, it spread from Arabian Peninsula to Middle East. From Middle East it has come into Central Asia, and in Central Asia one very prominent warlike tribe called Turks, okay, they were present in Central Asia, and these Turks were converted to Islam by the Arabians, and once they got converted to Islam they became one of the strongest supporters of Islam across the world. And these Turks, after converting to Islam, what they did is they defeated the Arabians, and after defeating the Arabians, the Turks, who by then were calling themselves as Ottoman Turks, they claimed the leadership of this institution called Khalifa. Khalifa is the religious and political head in Islam. So they took over the position of Khalifa from the Arabians. Till then, Arabians were the Khalifas. Khalifa means the emperor and religious head of Islam. And Ottoman Turkey, they took over this Khalifa. And after taking over Khalifa, the Ottoman Turks, they started having plans to extend Islam to its farthest extent. Their main intention is to extend Islam to all parts of the world. They wanted to extend Islam. And with this intention, and along with that, the Ottoman Turks were also oriented towards technology. Primarily, they developed cannon based warfare in the world. Very, very prominent cannon makers they were. Cannon means huge guns, right? Huge guns are called cannons. So this gunpowder based warfare is very well developed by the Ottoman Turks. And the Europeans till then, they were in a feeling of superiority complex. The Europeans always used to consider themselves to be the world's most superior race, primarily on the basis of their achievements in ancient times. They used to have a lot of prestige and power of their own. And during medieval times, these Ottoman Turks with this advanced technology, they started attacking the kingdoms which are present in Europe. Because their intention is to spread Islam, right? So with this intention, they started attacking the European world, and there emerged the religious wars which are known as crusades. Religious wars emerged which are known as crusades, and in these crusade wars, the Europeans, they already felt that they will be able to easily defeat the barbaric Ottoman Turks. But to the surprise of everyone, Ottoman Turks, through their advanced technology, they were able to destroy the European kingdoms. In fact, their attack was so powerful that the Europeans, they left the entire Eastern European region and they started withdrawing into Western Europe. In Eastern Europe, the countries like Yugoslavia, you might be knowing earlier there used to be a country called Yugoslavia, right? Right now there are countries like Serbia, Montenegro, Macedonia, Greece. I think you know all these countries, right? Eastern Europe. So all these countries were in fact taken over by Ottoman Turkey. And apart from taking over these Eastern European region, Ottoman Turks, they were able to conquer the second capital of Holy Roman Empire, which is known as Constantinople. When the Ottoman Turks started dominating the European world, the Europeans, all the Christian powers of Europe, they came together, they organized their troops and sent them to fight against Ottoman Turks. But the Ottoman Turk attack was so effective that they were able to defeat all the European powers combined. That is the reason why medieval age is known as the age of Islam in the world. When Islam was the most dominant religion, and technologically, militarily, every respect may Ottoman Turks, they were more advanced than the Europeans. Are you following this, sir? And they were able to take over the second capital of Holy Roman Empire called Constantinople. Once they took charge of Constantinople, what they did is they started understanding that European sustenance and power is based on the products from Asia. Particularly without spices, the Europeans will not be able to consume their food, right, during winter. Yes, they started understanding the importance of Eastern trade to the Europeans. Once they understood this trade significance, initially they established a complete blockade over the city of Constantinople. It means that they did not permit any Asian goods to enter into Europe, and they established a complete blockade of trade. And because of this blockade of trade, the European world's economy, it was completely destroyed. People were dying because of hunger. There were numerous problems in economy because of absence of Asian goods. So after some time, they slowly lifted the blockade. But when they lifted the blockade also, they started imposing huge taxes on the Asian products which are going into European world. Almost 300% tax they used to impose on goods. 300% tax means what? If the goods price is 1 rupee, by the time it reaches Europe, it will become 4 rupees. So they used to impose 300% tax on the goods and export them to Europe. So this way, the European world's economy, it was completely destroyed because of the fall of Constantinople, and it occurred in 1453. And once Constantinople fell, listen to me, naturally any person who thinks himself as superior, if he is defeated, then naturally he will fall into a process of self-introspection, right? He'll start thinking, why did I lose? What did I commit a mistake of? Okay, so everyone starts thinking, right? So when they start thinking about their where they went wrong, at this point of time, the Europeans felt that first and foremost we need to solve our economic problem. And in order to solve the economic problem, we have to re-establish our trade links with Asia. Are you following this, sir? But till then, if you see, just like in Indian case, in European world also, religion used to be the dominant force in all walks of life. Wherever medieval means, automatically religion will dominate. And in Bible, it has been clearly written that the earth is flat. It has been very clearly written that earth is flat. Okay, then along with writing that earth is flat, in Christianity too, there was a sanction against sea travel. Because people used to be afraid that if they travel too far away from land, they will fall off from the cliff of earth. Okay, they were really afraid. This is not joke. Okay, they were afraid that if they travel too far from Europe, then they might fall from the cliff of earth and die. And okay, because of this fear, sea-based explorations were never conducted. Then along with that, okay, what happened is the Europeans were losing huge territory. They lost in the military conflict. Their economy was adversely affected. At this point of time, okay, two rulers of Europe, one is the Spanish ruler and the second one is Portuguese ruler. They reached out to the Pope and they asked the Pope permission in order to explore the waters around Europe. They went to him and requested, sir, our position has become very bad, so please give us permission in order to explore more oceans, okay, in order to find out a direct sea route to Asia. That too, particularly India, he asked a permission from Pope. Then Pope, little did he know that, okay, it will change the entire course of history. Then what he did is, okay, so go and try to explore the waters, but be careful, you might fall from the cliff of earth. Okay, so थोड़ा सावधान रखना, okay, क्योंकि flat है, Bible it is saying clearly, God has created a flat earth, so be careful. Okay, so be careful not to fall off from the cliff, but explore the waters. बोल के he gave permission to the Portuguese king, who is known as Henry the Navigator. He gets a bull from the Pope immediately after the fall of Constantinople, and from then on they started sponsoring voyages into the oceans around them. But the ships which were built at that point of time, they were all wooden ships. They were not sturdy enough to, okay, withstand the ocean-based travel. Many of these explorations went into the ocean, and after going into the ocean, they have sunk in the ocean. They never came back. So because of which people had huge fear of ocean-based explorations. At this point of time, what happened is a person by the name of Bartolomeu Diaz. Okay, Bartolomeu Diaz, he first, okay, started exploring the waters around Europe. Then he came across Africa, and traveling very close by to Africa, he was able to reach the tip of Africa, which is known as Cape of Good Hope. Okay, Bartolomeu Diaz, he came till Cape of Good Hope, and by then what happened is in Europe there emerged some scientists, particularly, okay, a person by the name of Galileo Galilei. And what he did is he developed a telescope and he started looking at all other interplanetary objects. Then when he started looking at the interplanetary objects, he understood that every spatial object is spherical. There is no body in space which is flat. When all the bodies are spherical, why would Earth be different? Bolke, he started rising up a question. But people showed him Bible, or a Bible mate is written that Earth is flat. Okay, how can you say that it might also be spherical? But he started finding out evidences in order to prove that Earth is spherical, in fact not flat. And some of the geographical explorers, they got the news about Galileo's theories. And one person, he was so adamant on proving Galileo's theory right, okay, he took the sponsorship from the Spanish king, okay, and after that he wanted to reach to India. Everyone knows that from the European world, India is to the east, right? But in order to prove that Earth is spherical, a famous navigator called Christopher Columbus, he wanted to travel west in order to reach east. Because if Earth is spherical, if they travel west, they will come to east, right? Yes or no? So his intention was what? To reach out to India. But believing in Galileo Galilei's theory, what he did is he started traveling west in order to come to east. Then by accident he landed up in Caribbean islands in North America. Once he landed there, he looked at the local population. They were also brown skinned, just like the description he got from other travelers about India. Indians are also brown skinned, right? So he saw these people, okay, they seemed like Indian brown skinned, but he felt that he landed up in the wrong part of India. There are all tribal people, okay, so just they are brown in color, but they don't suit the description which has been given by other travelers. They look both different here. So what he did is, because of their attire that they were wearing, he gave them the name of Red Indians. And even today Native Americans are called Red Indians, right? Yes. And unknown to him, he accidentally by chance discovered 2 new continents for the world. Till then, these 2 continents were not known to the world at all. They were never in contact with the rest of the world. The world map of medieval times is what? Europe, Asia and India, that's it. There was no North America and South America. So that is the reason why sometimes courage leads to, okay, new explorations. It is better to be courageous, okay, rather than being a coward and not knowing anything. So he explored this and he found out new 2 continents, and that is the reason why these 2 continents are usually called as New World. This has been asked as a UPSC question. Okay, New World means nothing but North and South America, and sometimes even Australia was also included in New World, because Australia was also not known to the world till then. So these 3 continents put together are known as New World. So it was found out by Christopher Columbus. Then after this, one more daring explorer was Vasco da Gama. Okay, what he did is he wanted to find out a direct sea route to India, but he also had the fear of falling from the cliffs of the earth. So that is the reason why he did not travel west. What he did is he already knew about the route of Bartolomé Diaz till Cape of Good Hope. So he came till Cape of Good Hope, and in Cape of Good Hope he parlayed, he stayed there for some time. Okay, then after staying there for some time, what he did is he started close coastal navigation of Africa. It means that within the reach of land itself, he started traveling on the coast of Africa, because he was afraid, okay, so that he might fall off from the cliff. Then after this, he came in Africa to this region which is known as, okay, Malindi and Mombasa. You know Mombasa? Kenya. Okay, Malindi and Mombasa he landed in, and when he landed there, he was surprised to see that the Africans were using Indian products. It means that Indians had a contact with Mombasa and Malindi. Are you following this, sir? So when he looked at these products, he came to a conclusion that these are Indian products. Indians are trading with this region and they have a route to them. Then he convinced the ruler of Mombasa, and there were many Indian agency houses also in this region at the point of time. And in one such agency houses, there was an Indian pilot. Pilot means a person who shows direction to the ships. So there was an Indian pilot by the name of Abdul Mazid, and he appointed him, he took him over in his ship, and with his help, finally in 1498, he was able to come and land at Calicut. 1453 Constantinople fell. 1498 is just how many years, sir? So somewhere around 45 years. Within 45 years, see the urgency of the Europeans because of their dependency on Indian products. By 1498, they were able to find out a direct sea route to India. And in 1499, he came to Calicut. There he brought, with whatever money he had, Indian products he brought. Okay, and after buying Indian products, okay, the local ruler at that point of time is a person called Zamorin. Zamorin is a Hindu ruler of Calicut. So he was ruling in this region. He was able to buy many products here. Then after buying these products, he started his voyage back to Europe. And in the voyage back to Europe, okay, multiple number of natural disasters hit him, primarily because he did not know about monsoon. He started from India at the wrong time of monsoon. Okay, during the time of monsoon, it is very easy to come to India. And during the time of monsoon, it is very difficult to go back from India, because the ocean waves, the winds in ocean will be in opposite direction. Without knowing about it, he started his return journey. And out of nearly 150 people, by the time he reached Africa, only 70 remained. Where half of his crew died, okay, because of the disturbances in ocean. Finally, he went back to Africa first, and from Africa, okay, slowly he went back to Europe again. And after going back to Europe, in Portugal, he proclaimed that he has found out a direct sea route to India, and whatever goods he carried from India to the European world, he was able to sell them at nearly 400% profit. Okay, 400% profit he was able to sell, and this increased the interest in Indian travel to the European world. Then apart from this, there was one more, okay, great explorer by the name of Ferdinand Magellan. Okay, Ferdinand Magellan is one more great explorer, and he wanted to prove the Newton's theory right. So not Newton, Galileo's theory right. And with this intention, what he did is he took a ship and he traveled to South America in 1512. And from South Africa, from the tip of South America, what he did is he crossed South America. Then after that, he came to Philippines, and from Philippines, his crew, it crossed, okay, the Indian Ocean region or Southeast Asia it crossed. Then after crossing Southeast Asia through Indian Ocean region, they were able to go back to Spain. And this is considered to be the world's circumnavigation, which proved beyond doubt that Earth is spherical but not flat. Okay, that is the reason why the straits below South America, even today they are known as Magellan Straits, right? Know about it? The strait below South American tip is known as Magellan Strait. So in order to, okay, so commemorate his contribution only, they are known as Magellan Straits. And the exploration was so risky that once Magellan's ships landed in Philippines, okay, he was killed by the tribals in Philippines. And he was not able to go back to Spain. His crew went back, but he died in Spain, in Philippines, I'm sorry. So this is called the first circumnavigation of the world. These are the four major daring explorations at the point of time. One is of Bartolomé Diaz, the second one is Christopher Columbus, the third one is Vasco da Gama, and the fourth one is Magellan. Ferdinand Magellan is his name. So these are the four people who explored the Indian Ocean waters. Okay, not Indian Ocean waters, but the global waters, in order to find out a direct sea route to India, and in order to prove that the Earth is spherical but not flat. Is it clear, sir? Is it making sense? Now, these four explorations are important for us, but apart from this, see, Vasco da Gama, he had a very interesting story about him. What happened is, in his first navigation, he was able to make a hell lot of money. Then after that, the Portuguese king, he sent a person called Cabral to Calicut. Okay, immediately after his exploration, he was sent, Cabral was sent, and Cabral, he was also able to make a lot of profit in the trade. And in 1502, Vasco da Gama was again sent to India in order to trade with India. But Vasco da Gama, in his second voyage, when he came to India, what he did is, he started targeting the Arabic and Turkish merchants who were present in India. Primarily because of what? He wanted to, okay, fight back against the Muslims for the crusade losses. In crusades, the Muslims were able to defeat the Christians, right? That is the reason why he wanted to fight back against the Muslims who are present in India. And in India, under Jamorin's Calicut itself, there were numerous Arabic and Turkish merchants who came to India in order to carry the merchandise to the European world. Are you getting this, sir? So numerous people were present, and what he started doing is, he started a campaign of piracy. And in this campaign of piracy, what he did is, he started sinking all Arabic and Turkish ships which were taking the Indian goods from India to Arabian world. It means it's not just about his profit, he also wanted to stop the Arabs and Turks from trading with India. And he also started putting pressure on Jamorin to banish all the Arabic and Turkish merchants from Kerala. And when the Jamorin, will he accept this, sir? So trade was happening from centuries it was happening. He comes newly and he starts demanding Jamorin to ban the trade with India. And when he made this demand to Jamorin, denied this demand. Then immediately Vasco da Gama, with his cannon fitted ships, he destroyed the entire city of Calicut. Okay, without landing onto the ground itself, he destroyed the port city of Calicut by conducting a bombing campaign against this. Then along with that, he nearly killed some 400 to 500 Arab and Turkish merchants when he used to capture their ships, loot it for the merchandise. Then after that, he used to shut down the ships and burn them in the sea itself. Many Indians, many Arabs and many Turks he killed, and he is known for, okay, today's terminology, human rights violations. Okay, in today's terminology, he is known for human rights violations. Once he went back, again he was able to make huge profit. But the king in Portugal, he changed. Once he changed, what happened is, Vasco da Gama was not given any significance by the new king. Then till 1524 he was in the sidelines of Portugal. Then after that in 1524 again he was sent back to India. Okay, as a governor of Portuguese provinces in India, he was sent back to India in 1524, and this time when he came back to India, an Indian mosquito took revenge against Vasco da Gama. Okay, what happened is immediately after he came to India, he was contracted with malaria and he died finally in Calicut only. Okay, so this is how his death occurred, and he was buried in Calicut first, but later day the Portuguese considered him to be too important to be buried in a land which is not under Christianity, and his dead body was again extracted from India and it was taken back to Portugal. Okay, this is the full story of Vasco da Gama. So very, very important personality. Definitely, see, usually we know just that Vasco da Gama landed at Calicut, that's it. But they will definitely phrase a question around this. Why I am telling this also, I will show you. Okay, because UPSC is very much interested in some personalities of history. Okay, where the dead bodies are present, where they died, all these kind of questions are also asked in UPSC prelims. Do you understand this Vasco da Gama's exploration, sir? Yes? So, shall we have a look at the handout till here? Then after that, the next part of the story I will explain. Is it clear? So, did you understand Crusades, Ottoman Turkey's dominance? So, in fact, the Ottoman Turkey's cannons and gunnery was so advanced that Babur recruited the same Ottoman Turks in order to fight against Ibrahim Lodi of India. So in first battle of Panipat, when Babur was fighting against Ibrahim Lodi, he brought two expert gunners from Turkey to India, and with their help only he developed proper cannons, and because of those cannons only he was able to beat Ibrahim Lodi. In fact, Ibrahim Lodi, he had troops of nearly 1 lakh men, whereas Babur had just 20,000 troops. 5 times more are the Ibrahim Lodi's troops. But in first battle of Panipat he was able to win primarily because of the Ottoman Turkey's gunners. Are you following this, sir? That is linked to Indian history. Then one more thing that you need to understand here is Mughal Empire was established in India in 1526, whereas the Portuguese came to India in 1498. It means that the Portuguese were older in India when compared to the Mughals. Okay, so we usually think Mughals to be old and Portuguese to come later, but in fact the precise date is 1498 for the Portuguese and 1526 for the Mughals. Are you following this, sir? So it means that the Portuguese were older than the Mughals in India. Yes, but we will discuss about other things later, but I think you understood the broadly what I am trying to speak. I think you understood, right? Now let's have a look at the handout once. This ideology I will discuss later. Advent of Europeans I am going to talk about now. Portuguese, okay, the first European trading company to come to India. So when it comes to Portuguese, trade between Europe and India was done from ancient times through Silk route, that is land route, and there was also sea-based trade from Red Sea and Persian Gulf. I talked about this, right? Okay. Then in ancient and medieval period there was no direct sea route to India from Europe. At Constantinople, the junction of all three routes formed, and it was under the control of Holy Roman Empire, whose first capital is Vienna, second capital is Constantinople. Okay, so Constantinople. Then Ottoman Turks conquered Constantinople in 1453. Okay, you write one statement. Okay, this conquest occurred through conflicts called Crusades. This conquest occurred through conflicts called Crusades, in which Ottoman Turks defeated the Christian powers. Ottoman Turks defeated the Christian powers through their advanced cannons, C-A-N-O-N, cannon. Okay, through their advanced cannons, and this victory shook the European world, shook the European world and undermined their superiority complex and undermined their superiority complex. Undermine the superiority complex. Okay, full stop. This loss made the Europeans re-evaluate themselves, leading to geographical explorations, comma, Renaissance. You write this term. Okay, you might have heard this term earlier, but you just write it down. When we discuss world history later, I'll explain more about this. Okay, is world history done for you? No, right? Okay, Renaissance. Okay, Renaissance, it's known as, or Renaissance. Okay, Renaissance. Okay, it's an Italian term. Okay, Renaissance means rebirth. Okay, Renaissance means rebirth. Okay, so this movement it started, and in fact Galileo Galilei, he is part of this movement of Renaissance itself. Okay, there were very famous scholars, painters, artists, all of them are part of this age called Renaissance. Okay, you might be knowing about Da Vinci, right? Okay, so Da Vinci, he belongs to this age of Renaissance. Okay, so then what? Yes. No, that person is not part of Renaissance. He is a modern painter. Okay, Van Gogh is a modern. Okay, but this person, Da Vinci, belongs to Renaissance. There were others like Michelangelo. You might have heard about him. Michelangelo. Okay, Da Vinci. Then Leonardo da Vinci is the one. Okay, so Michelangelo was there. Many other top grade painters, artists and scientists came out during this Renaissance period. Is it clear? Okay, so naturally, right, whenever people are or people's sense of superiority is undermined, they will re-evaluate themselves, and re-evaluation will lead to progress, and that progress in European world is called Renaissance. Okay, it's called Renaissance. It is an artistic scientific movement in Europe, okay, which occurred after the fall of Constantinople. I'll discuss about it later. Okay, world history, when we talk about this is an important event, I'll give more information about it later. Okay, but now if you see, then Ottoman Turks started monopolizing all eastern trade and started levying high duties on trade between Asia and Europe. So then need for a direct trade route is felt. Then it led to Renaissance and geographical explorations. Portuguese and Spanish played a major role in geographical explorations. In fact, Prince Henry the Navigator, okay, his title is Navigator. His name is Prince Henry. He belongs to Portugal. He went to the Pope, okay, in order to get a bull from him. Bull means order, and this order was given to Henry the Navigator in 1454 by the Pope. I talked about this event, right? He went and requested the Pope saying that I will explore the waters, okay, but he said, okay, play just in the nearby waters, don't go interior. Okay, remember this, right? Okay, so that is the case. So it's not given there, right? So please write this statement down. In 1454, Prince Henry the Navigator, in 1454, in 1454, Prince Henry the Navigator of Portugal, Prince Henry the Navigator of Portugal got a bull. Okay, bull means order. Okay, bull means order from the Pope to explore the waters of Orient, O-R-I-E-N-T, to explore the waters of Orient. Okay, in fact, Orient means east. Okay, there you write Orient ke bagal mein, you write in bracket Orient means east. So usually east means Asia. Okay, Asia means India. Then along with that, China, Southeast Asia, all of these are considered to be part of Orient. Whereas the European world is known as Occident. Okay, you write it down. Okay, you write it down. European world is called Occident. Okay. Occident. Occident means European world. Orient means Asia. Okay, so you should not get confused by not accident, Occident. Okay, so Occident is the term. Okay, Occident and Orient. Okay, Orient means India, Occident means the European world. Okay, now the next one is, this one is not important for us. Then Bartolomé Diaz is the next one. Okay, Bartolomé Diaz was able to reach tip of Africa called as Cape of Good Hope in 1488. It's given in the handout. You need not write it again. Then Christopher Columbus, he moved to west in order to reach east because Earth is spherical, and he landed up in North America in 1493. Then after this, the next major explorer is Vasco da Gama, and he used the route of Bartolomé Diaz to reach tip of Africa, came and landed in Calicut in 1498 with the help of a Gujarati pilot by the name of Abdul Mazid. Okay, Abdul Mazid is the one who helped him. He established a direct sea route between India and Europe in 1498. Then after that, there is a person called Ferdinand Magellan. Ferdinand Magellan, he is the first circumnavigator of the globe, and he did it in 1522. Any person who travels around the globe is known as circumnavigator. Okay, any person who travels around the globe is called circumnavigator, and the world's first circumnavigator is, okay, this person by the name of Ferdinand Magellan. Okay, then in Portuguese in 1500, okay, from here on I need to discuss. So you need to write one or two statements. Please write it down. After Gama's exploration, okay, Vasco da Gama. After Gama's exploration, Portuguese sent Cabral, okay, Cabral, Cabral, who established a factory at Calicut. Okay, don't confuse this term factory, but you just write it down. I'll explain it. Okay, who established Cabral, Cabral, Cabral. Okay, so Cabral, you need not remember the full name, just remember Cabral. So in 1500 established a factory at Calicut. So factory here means, don't think of factory as a manufacturing center. What the Europeans used to do is, when they used to procure the Indian goods, they required a godown to store the goods that have been procured. Okay, godown is a storage space, right? The storage space where they used to save their goods is known as, okay, factory. Okay, warehouse. Primarily factory means it is a warehouse. So they established their warehouse at Calicut. Then, okay, right, Gama came on his second exploration. Gama came on his second exploration in 1501. Gama came for his second exploration in 1501, and this expedition, expedition, you write expedition, D-I-T-I-O-N. Okay, expedition led to bombing of Calicut, and attempts to monopolize Indian trade. Bombing of Calicut and attempts to monopolize Indian trade by destroying Arab and Turkish ships. Okay, so I talked about it, right? Then you write in 1524. In 1524, his last expedition occurred. His means Gama's. right? Gama's last expedition occurred. Okay, 1524, the last expedition, whatever, of Gama, last expedition occurred, and he died in India. And he died in India. Died in India. In Kochi, not Calicut. In Kochi he died. Okay, in Kochi. Cochin, you know Cochin, right? Cochin. Cochin. Died in Cochin. Okay. Kochi is Indian name. Cochin is European name. Okay, same thing. Cochin or Kochi. Kochi or Cochin, same thing. Okay, he died in Cochin and was buried there. He was buried there. Buried there, but his dead body was later restored to Portugal. Dead body was later restored to Portugal. Okay, so this is a story of Vasco da Gama, one of the prominent explorer of India. So is this story understandable, sir? So will you be able to solve prelims questions on the basis of this narrative? Yes. So they will definitely phrase good questions surrounding the story of Vasco da Gama. Okay, see, in fact, modern Indian history is such a topic, okay, which is not just relevant for UPSC, for all government examinations. This section is very important. So that is the reason why I am going a little detailed with respect to facts. Okay, primarily because in prelims of any objective questions in any government examination, there will be many questions from modern India. So without modern India question, there is no government services examination conducted. Okay, either it is your state services, central service, okay, any service you take up, okay, except for some technical services, everywhere you will find modern India questions. So that is the reason why we need to go a little detailed in this section. Now we will understand. Okay, now Vasco da Gama came. Okay, he tried to show or establish the Portuguese dominance in Indian Ocean region. Then, along with Vasco da Gama, at the same time, okay, listen to me. At the same time, the Portuguese king also started having similar thoughts. Okay, he started thinking that, see, I have sponsored the explorations. I have given money. I have attached ships, people. Then I asked them to explore. That is the reason why, because of my contribution only, there was a direct sea route to India which has been formed. Yes. Now I have to take advantage of my investment, right? I have put money because of which a direct sea route is found. Now I have to take advantage of it. So in order to take advantage of the direct sea route to India, the Portuguese king, what he did is he established a company called Estado da India. Okay, it is nothing but Portuguese East India Company, okay, which was known in Portuguese as Estado da India. And this Estado da India as a company, it is not a company of the Portuguese government. This is a company which is started by the Portuguese king. The king himself started this company. And he established this company in 1500. And his main intention in this company is he wanted to be the sole owner of all Indian trade. Means that whatever goods are coming from India, all the goods, they have to come to the European world only through Portugal. Then if the goods enter through Portugal, he will be able to tax them, and he will be able to charge high margins also on this trade, and through this he can become a very prosperous person, and Portugal also will become a very rich nation because of this. So his intention is he want to become a sole owner of all Indian trade. And usually sole ownership in English is called as monopoly trade, it is called as, right? So through Estado da India, he wanted to establish this monopoly trade. So he established this company and appointed a very close aide of his by the name of Francois de Almeida. A very close friend of him, he appointed him as the first governor of Estado da India. Okay, Francois de Almeida is the person. He was appointed as the first governor of Estado da India. So he came to the Indian Ocean region. He started studying about the trade and commerce which is occurring in Indian Ocean region, and in order to establish the Portuguese monopoly over Indian Ocean trade, he formulated a policy which is known as Blue Water Policy. It is called as. Okay, it is called as Blue Water Policy. Under this Blue Water Policy, all the Indian goods that are being taken from India to the European world, they have to be taken in Portuguese ships alone. No other ship is permitted to carry the Indian goods from India to Europe. It means that even the Arab and Turk ships which were taking the goods from India to Arabia, they are also not permitted to carry the Indian goods from Indian Ocean to this region, because those goods also will again enter into the European market. Are you following this, sir? Listen to me carefully. Okay, so I know that your energy is a little low. Last half an hour, okay, you try to focus on this. This is a very important topic. So what he did is, he said that from now on, all the Indian goods which are being taken from India to Europe, they have to be taken only in the Portuguese ships. And by denying this order, if any ship tries to take Indian goods from India to India through the Indian Ocean region, then I am going to consider the ship as a good or a prized good for me, and I am going to loot the ship and sink it into the ocean. Are you following this, sir? So अगर कोई ये ऑर्डर को डिनाई करके इंडियन मर्चेंडाइज को इंडियन ओशन में लेके जाने के लिए ट्राई किया तो आई विल कंसिडर इट एज ए वॉर प्राइस फॉर मी, एंड आई एम गोइंग टू अटैक इट, loot it, and then sink it into the ocean bottom. That policy is called Blue Water Policy. And under this Blue Water Policy, he wanted to establish absolute Portuguese monopoly over all the goods which are being taken from India to the European world. And this Blue Water Policy, it can be implemented only through this principle called armed trade principle. Armed trade means what? It means that every ship that the Portuguese are going to get into India, it will be fitted with proper cannons, and every ship is a military vessel along with being a trading ship, both trade and military. Both of these functions will be combined together, and this principle is called as armed trade principle. And through this armed trade principle, he wanted to establish this Blue Water Policy, and this is an attempt to convert the Indian Ocean into a Portuguese ocean. Yes or no? This is an attempt to convert Indian Ocean into a Portuguese ocean, and this conversion of Indian Ocean to Portuguese ocean and the Portuguese dominance over Indian Ocean region, it occurred and it sustained for nearly 100 years without challenge. For 100 years, they did not permit any Arab, Turk or Indian ship to carry Indian goods from India to either Arabia or to the Persian Gulf or to the European world. For 100 years, they were able to monopolize the entire trade of India, which gave them enormous amounts of profits. Are you following what I'm trying to say? Yes. So Blue Water Policy and armed trade principle, in which they wanted to establish not a land-based empire, but this empire is usually considered as a sea-based empire, because here they are not buying or trying to control Indian territory. They are just trying to control Indian Ocean. That is the reason why this empire is known as usually a sea-based empire. And in order to maintain this sea-based empire, the Portuguese required some strategic ports. They definitely required some strategic ports, right? They can't come all the time from Portugal, to other regions and fight the wars, right? They wanted some port towns, and these port towns are primarily meant to help the ships to establish their dominance over Indian Ocean region. These strategic ports are all known as watering holes, because the ships, whenever they go on ocean, they regularly require refilling of drinking water. So that is the reason why these strategic ports are also known as watering holes, where the Portuguese used to bring their ships, fill in the fresh water from there, and then again go into the ocean. So this way they needed some strategic ports. And initially, when they tried to establish this monopoly, the trade between India and European world was so huge that the Portuguese ships were not enough to carry all the Indian goods to Europe. They had a few number of ships, but the goods that are being exported were large number of goods are being exported. So the Portuguese ships are not sufficient. Now, when the Portuguese realized that their ships are not sufficient, what they did is they established a new system called cartage system. All of these are linked. You have to remember this. They established a system called cartage system. Under this cartage system, they permitted the Arab, Turk or Indian ships to carry the goods from India to Europe. It is permitted. But when they are carrying these goods, they are asked to land first at the strategic ports. First come to the strategic port, then there will be a Portuguese tax examiner there. He will enter into the ship, he will evaluate the price of all goods, and based on that he is going to charge some tax on the ship. And after the ship pays the tax, the Portuguese are going to issue a piece of paper which is known as cartage. And only when this cartage is shown to the other Portuguese ships, the goods will be left to go to Europe. If that cartage is absent, then immediately the ship will be looted and sunk by the Portuguese. Okay, so this is just like the toll system, right? Yeah, on highways you have tolls. Yes, you go, okay, first when you are traveling, based on the size of your car, or what happens is there will be a toll place, okay, there you have to pay the tax and then go. So this is cartage system is nothing but the toll system which has been established by the Portuguese. See, they have just come on 3 ships to India. Now they are saying Indian Ocean is their own. They are not permitting even Indian ships, okay, to travel here, and when Indian ships are traveling, they are imposing a tax called cartage. And this cartage, it became a very, very prominent instrument for the Europeans in order to charge taxes from the locals, and through this they were able to realize a lot of money. Are you understanding this, sir? So this is the story of this person called Franco de Almeida, and he established this system. Then slowly the Portuguese started establishing strategic ports at numerous places across India, and one of the most important strategic ports for the Portuguese in India is Goa. Okay, Goa is the most important strategic post. It is also having strategic ports at Daman and Diu. You might be knowing Dadra, Nagar and Haveli. All of these are union territories in India today. Yes. So I'll just show you the map of the Portuguese sea-based empire. So this is the route which has been taken by Vasco da Gama. See, nowhere he has gone far away from land, right? Except for here, because here he knows that Cape of Good Hope is going to come, and there because of the help of Abdul Mazid. So this is the route that he has taken. Then, where was I? I'll just show the map of the Portuguese Empire. See this. This is the Portuguese Empire. Okay, so in South America they controlled Brazil, and apart from Brazil, if you see the Portuguese in Africa, they controlled, one is Angola and the second one is Mozambique. Then apart from this, in Indian Ocean region, they did not even try to establish any land-based empire, right? Is there any land under their control? But they have strategic ports at these places. One is Muscat. It means that every ship which is entering into Persian Gulf, they will force them to land at Muscat. Muscat is one, second one is Ormuz. Okay. The next one is Diu and Daman. Then initially Bombay was also under their control. Goa was under their control. Calicut also became a strategic port. Cochin became a strategic port. Then Colombo became one more strategic port. Then apart from this, see this Malacca Strait, that is considered to be a choke point in Indian Ocean right now. So there also they established their strategic port. Then apart from Malacca, they established in China at a place called Macau. Okay, Macau is a very famous trading center in China even today. Then apart from Macau, they also established their strategic port at Nagasaki in Japan. Okay, so if you get the printout, I'll make you mark the most important ports that you need to remember. Okay, on mobile you can't do, and that too you can't remember all the ports, right? Only a few are important for us, we need to know them. So these are the strategic ports established by them. Then apart from these strategic ports, in India, they established their trading factories at so many places. Okay, factories, n number of factories they have established. Entire coastline they have dominated. Are you able to see it, sir? All the prominent trading cities, Surat is gone. Daman and Diu, that too very strategically on both the sides of Gujarat. Daman is present here, Diu is present here. Dadra and Nagar Haveli, then along with that Bombay. Okay, I'll make you mark these things tomorrow. Are you following this, sir? You need not remember all the ones, everything, but only a few things you need to remember. If you get a printout, I'll make you mark them on the printed copy. Is it alright? So this way they established numerous ports, okay, across the country. Chittagong is one, Hooghly is another, then Machilipatnam, okay, very prominent trading station. Pulicat is one more. So this way they established their trading stations at multiple places. And this is the first governor of Portuguese to India, that is Francois de Almeida. Then after Francois de Almeida, the second governor of Portuguese in India is a person by the name of Albuquerque. A very, very prominent personality. So his name is Albuquerque, and he is more prominent primarily because he was the one who got control over this province called Goa. And he defeated the Sultan of Bijapur, and he was able to establish his trading station at Goa. Then after establishing the trading station of Goa, Albuquerque became even more popular primarily because of his friendship with Krishna Deva Raya. You know Sri Krishna Deva Raya, he is a very prominent ruler of Vijayanagara Empire. So Albuquerque was a very close friend of Sri Krishna Deva Raya, and because of their friendship, what the Portuguese did is, Portuguese and Krishna Deva Raya did is, they established a horse trading monopoly in India. Horse trading monopoly means what? All the horses which are brought from the Arabian world or Europe, they will be sold only to the Vijayanagara Empire. And at that point of time, cavalry is the strongest asset of a military. Yes, and Vijayanagara Empire had a running conflict with the Sultans of Bijapur on one side, and they had a conflict with the Gajapatis of Odisha. You know the Gajapati rulers of Odisha, they fought numerous battles with the Gajapati rulers of Odisha. And cavalry is the most important asset for the army. And if there is a horse monopoly or import of horses is monopolized by the Vijayanagara Empire, automatically its military strength will substantially increase, right? Will it increase or not? It will increase. Others can't import horses, only these people can import. So with their increased military strength itself, during Sri Krishna Deva Raya period, the Vijayanagara Emperor was able to defeat the Sultans of Bijapur on one side and Gajapatis of Odisha also on the other. Are you following this, sir? So that is how the horse monopoly played in favor of Sri Krishna Deva Raya. And he used to pay huge gifts to the Portuguese in order to establish this horse monopoly. And apart from horse monopoly, Albuquerque is also very well known because he is the first European in India who banned the practice of sati in all the Portuguese strategic ports. In strategic ports, wherever they are present, wherever they had dominance, he banned the practice of sati. He is the first European to do so. Then apart from banning the practice of sati, this person Albuquerque, he was very much interested in horticulture. And he is the one who brought in the system of plant grafting technology to India, and through grafting technique only he developed a unique variety of mango called Alfonso mango. Alfonso mango is named after the same person. Alfonso de Albuquerque is his name. It is also known as Hapus mango. You know, it is a very, very prominent variety of mango, the costliest variety in fact. So that Alfonso mango was developed by this person Alfonso de Albuquerque. So horse monopoly is one. Second one is occupation of Goa, banning of sati. Then along with that, his friendship with Sri Krishna Deva Raya made Albuquerque a very, very prominent governor of Portuguese provinces in India. Is it clear, sir? Is it clear till here? So let's have a look at the handout till here. Yes, please open the section. Portuguese have a lot of story to them. We will discuss about more about them later. Then Cabral, Zamorin conflict, all of these things I have talked about. Francisco de Almeida is the next governor. Please check the handout. First governor of Estado de India he was. Then along with being that, he started the policy called Blue Water Policy. He wanted to establish a sea-based empire in India. For this, they required strategic ports to have control over Indian Ocean. Rather than investing in military, they started spending on ships to strengthen their navy. So very smart move, right? If they tried to conquer the land, they would have been easily defeated by the Mughals, because Mughals were still very strong here. So that is the reason why they went for the sea-based empire. Then they started armed trade principles, that is all ships are fitted with cannons. Then he understood that Portuguese ships were not enough to carry trade as the trade flourished. So he wanted to include local ships, and with this intention he started this system called Cartagena system, which means forceful collection of tolls. Is it clear? Now native ships are forced to land at strategic ports and pay toll to the Portuguese before trading. Portuguese was able to control entire range from Malacca Strait to Red Sea and Persian Gulf. Okay, the entire Indian Ocean region was under their control for 100 years based on this system called Blue Water Policy and Cartagena system. They were able to dominate Indian Ocean trade, and the Portuguese also brought numerous agricultural products to India from the New World, primarily because they had control over Brazil, right? That is the reason why they brought all these products to India. One is, okay, potato, tomato, chili, rubber, cashew nut, pineapple, tobacco and guava. Okay, all these products were brought by the Portuguese to India. But we can't expect an Indian, okay, meal today without these products, right? Okay, at least in a day, at least once we are going to consume one of these products, right? Particularly without chili, we are not able to do anything. And Indians know 1,000 varieties to cook potato. Okay. Okay, that is the reason why the Bihar chief minister, he said, "Jab tak rahega, okay, Bihar mein aloo, sorry, Bihar mein aloo rahega, tab tak, okay, Bihar mein lalu rahega," bolke he said one statement. So that is how, okay, so aloo has become an essential part of Indian diet. But it is very interesting thing that before 500 years, Indians never used to eat potato. Potato was not known to us. But within 500 years, our dietary pattern has changed so much. Are you following this, sir? Okay, so that way, the Portuguese contribution is one of the most long-lasting contribution. Okay, and they are very interesting people too. I'll talk about it later. Then Alfonso de Albuquerque is the next one, close aide of Sri Krishna Deva Raya, and both established horse monopoly in Indian Ocean region. They established numerous strategic ports like Goa, Daman and Diu, and along with that, Alfonso mango was developed by using grafting technique by the same person. He himself did this. Okay, that is the reason why the mango is named after him. Then Portuguese were not very powerful and started declining post 16th century, that I will discuss, and he got control over Goa in 1510 from the Sultan of Bijapur, and he abolished sati too. I think this statement is not there, right, in the handout? No. It's not there, please write it down. Okay, in 1510 Albuquerque, okay, spelling him is a little difficult for me, you can write it from there. Okay, Albuquerque in 1510 occupied Goa from Sultan of Bijapur, and he abolished the practice of sati. In the areas of Portuguese control. In the areas of Portuguese control. In the areas of Portuguese control, they abolished the practice of sati. Okay, he is the one. Okay, first European to abolish sati. Is it clear, sir? Now, this is the story of the Portuguese. Okay, partially. Now, I'll just discuss about a small story which is associated with Portuguese. So when the Portuguese established their strategic ports in India, okay, the Mughals initially tried to resist the Portuguese dominance, but the Mughals never had a strong navy. Okay, they never had a strong navy, so unable to fight with the Portuguese in a naval-based warfare, the Mughals also accepted Portuguese dominance in Indian Ocean region. Okay, on land Mughal Empire was present, but on ocean there was a Portuguese empire from 1500 on. Are you following what I'm trying to say? Is it clear, sir? Now, when the Mughals were unable to challenge the Portuguese authority, they permitted the Portuguese to take control over the strategic ports, and they were residing there. And particularly during the time of Akbar, Portuguese and Akbar also had very close contacts. And one of the main intention of Portuguese in coming to India is, apart from the trade profit, they were also interested in converting Indian population to Christianity. And wherever they established their strategic ports, they forcefully converted the local population to Christianity. In order to convert the local population to Christianity, they also used to conduct forceful marriages of Indian women to the Portuguese. because of which a mixed breed of people it emerged in Goa, who are half Portuguese and half Indian. Yes, so all of these things they used to practice, and of these things, okay, and along with the forceful conversions, they also brought in numerous Christian missionaries to India. And one of the most prominent Christian missionary which was brought into India is called as Jesuit order. Okay, Jesuit order is the most important Christian missionary brought to India by the Portuguese. And in this Jesuit order, there were 4 prominent Christian missionaries. One person's name is Francis Xavier. Second one is Pinheiro. The third one is Xavier Pinheiro. Aqua Viva is one more. And along with these 3 people, there was a person by the name of Xavier. Okay, Xavier, sorry, did I miss some name? Xavier is one, Aqua Viva is second, Pinheiro is third, and Monserrati is the 4th one. So there are 4 people who came to India. They were actively involved in converting the local population to Christianity. At this point of time, Akbar, he established his institution for religious discourses called Ibadat Khana. You might be knowing about Ibadat Khana. So he established a chamber in order to discuss the religions of the world. So what he did is he was genuinely interested in knowing what Christianity has to teach. So he invited this Jesuit missionary to come to this place called Ibadat Khana, and he established this Ibadat Khana in his palace called Fatehpur Sikri. You might be knowing about Fatehpur Sikri, right? It is very nearby to Agra, some 60 kilometers from Agra. There he established his palace, and along with that a fort, and he invited the Jesuit order to come to this place called Ibadat Khana. Then, as with all religions, he invited Brahmins, Jains, Sikhs, all people from all religions he has invited to Ibadat Khana. There he started inquiring about the sayings of every religion, and he started asking similar questions to the Jesuit order. And when he started putting forward these questions, the Jesuit order, they thought that Akbar is very interested in Christianity. Okay, so and they felt, and they started writing letters also to Goa saying that Akbar is about to convert to Christianity. And once Akbar converts to Christianity, it would be a cakewalk for us to convert entire India to Christianity. Once the ruler converts, automatically the people also, high possibility of conversion is there. So they started writing letters to Goa and also to Portugal, saying that they were almost on the verge of converting entire India to Christianity. And finally, what they did is they started forcing Akbar to convert to Christianity. Then Akbar, he denied his inclination to convert, and once Akbar denied his inclination to convert, what happened is the mission of the Jesuit order, it failed. And after that, these 4 Christian missionaries, they came back to Goa. And one of the Christian missionaries called Monserrati, he stayed back in Fatehpur Sikri. Akbar permitted him to construct a church also in Agra. Everything he gave complete religious freedom. Then all 3 others came to Goa. By this time, the Portuguese were establishing their centers in Chenatu, particularly Macau. They were establishing their center. There also there are local population. They also needs to be converted to Christianity. Now, what these people did is 3 of these Christian missionaries they sent to China. Of these people, Xavier was the most prominent one. He was sent to Macau, and in Macau, because of some natural disease, he died. Once he died, what happened is the dead body, what they did is they brought it back from Macau and they buried it in Goa. They brought it to Goa and they buried it in Goa. Then after that, after a few years, one of the Christian missionaries wanted to construct a church around the dead body of Xavier, because he was a very prominent Christian missionary. So what he did is he re-excavated the dead body of Xavier nearly after 200 years after his death. Once the dead body was re-excavated, everyone was shocked to see that his dead body, it did not disintegrate. The skin was intact, the nails were growing, the hair was growing, and his body, it remained as if he died just recently after 200 years. And this is considered to be a major miracle in Christianity. Catholic faith this is considered to be a great miracle. God, in order to prove his presence to the world, sometimes he does these kind of miracles. And one such miracle is this. This proves that Christianity is a great religion and God has saved the dead body from being disintegrated. They proclaimed this and they constructed a huge church around the dead body of Xavier, which is known as Basilica of Bom Jesus. Very, very prominent church in Goa. They constructed a huge church. Yes, it is in old Goa. So that is the reason why, okay, people, whenever you visit Goa, not just the beaches, there are also some prominent churches too. Okay, you should visit the churches. They are very good archaeological sites. See, just listen to me. What happened is, every year, okay, every year during a festival, in order to celebrate Xavier's Xavier's miracle, what they do is they conduct a feast every year in Goa in the name of Xavier. And if you go to Goa now also, in Basilica of Bom Jesus, okay, you can see partially the dead body of Xavier, and even now you can see the skin being intact. Okay, don't ask me how. This is considered to be a miracle. It means that it is beyond human understanding. Okay, how it remained, some people say that they have used good preservatives in order to save the body, in order to fool people, but some others say that no, it is definitely God's miracle. I don't know how the body is preserved, but even now you can see the dead body of Xavier. Okay, the photographs also you can see. So because of this is considered to be a major miracle, and okay, there is a fest which is conducted in Goa, and UPSC in 2020 asked a question on Xavier. I am not joking. They asked a very, very tough question on Xavier. Okay, but because I am a little interested in history, I used to travel well. Okay, in Goa I visited the same place, and I included it as part of my curriculum back in 2016 itself. When I was narrating this story to many people used to think that I am doing some time pass. Okay, but in 2020 the same question has come. That is the reason why the stories in my class are also important for the exam. Okay, so I narrate a lot many stories. Okay, so you need to remember them primarily because they are useful for the exam. Okay, so that is the story of this person called Xavier. Is it clear, sir? Now, apart from this, the Portuguese Empire in India, it got destroyed primarily because the Portuguese were involved in armed trade in a country which is based on free trade, right? Till then, was there any usage of army in trade? No. We were following free trade. But they came and they converted the free trade into armed trade. And the local rulers, even though they were not able to challenge the Portuguese, they were not favorably oriented towards the Portuguese. All the local rulers used to have enmity against the Portuguese, and sometimes the Portuguese also used to interfere in the Indian Muslims' travel to Arabian world, particularly because Hajj pilgrim is important for Indian Muslims, right? They usually go on Haji, so that is Makkah and Medina visit they go to, right? So in this visit also they used to interfere. They sometimes used to capture the Indian Muslims and convert them forcefully into Christianity. Then along with that, in India also, they primarily conducted numerous forceful conversions. Then along with that, they forcefully married Indian women to Portuguese. All these practices of Portuguese, they made Indians reject the Portuguese Empire in India or Indian Ocean. Indians did not have Indians were not favorably oriented towards this. Then along with that, during the same period, Portugal, it lost a war to Spain. And the Spanish king, he conquered entire Portugal, and Spanish king's main interest was in South America rather than in India. So he started reducing his investments on the Portuguese trade in India, so which led to weakening of the Portuguese. Then along with that, the Portuguese dominance in Indian Ocean region is also challenged by the English and Dutch, who started entering into Indian Ocean trade from 1600s on. From 1600s on, the Dutch and English came, and they are the main people who challenged the Portuguese dominance in Indian Ocean region. But despite of all these things, the Portuguese are the first European power to come to India, and they are the last people to leave, because they did not leave the regions under their control in India even after Indian independence, right? Till 1961, they were still under the control of Portuguese, and in 1961, through an operation called Operation Vijay, Indian government was able to take over the Portuguese provinces in India. That is when Daman and Diu, Dadra Nagar Haveli and Goa, they became part of India. Is it clear, sir? So did you understand the entire Portuguese story? Yes. Now just have a look at this section. After that we will wind up the class. Ideologies I wanted to introduce today, but the time did not permit me. I'll do them tomorrow. Okay. Now see this. Where was I? Yes. Factors for decline of Portuguese. Conversion of local population to Christianity. Method of forced trade was also unsustainable. They were replaced by English and Dutch, who based their concept on free trade. Okay, I'll talk about this later. So how the Dutch and English trade is different rather than forced trade. Portugal was also conquered by Spain, and their concentration shifted to South America. They were replaced by English East India Company and Dutch East India Company. But even then, they are the first to come and last to leave Goa, Daman and Diu and Dadra Nagar Haveli in 1961 through Operation Vijay. Then there was regular contact between Mughals and Portuguese started with Akbar. Then Akbar invited the Portuguese to Ibadat Khana. Xavier, Pinheiro, Aqua Viva and Monserrati went there. They also brought new architecture, I forgot to tell about this, which is known as Baroque architecture. Their church construction style is called Baroque architecture. Then along with that, they also constructed this church called Basilica of Bom Jesus. It is a church in Goa where dead body of Xavier is present. Is it clear? Then along with that, they also brought in this work called filigree work into Goa. Please write this down. It's not given in the handout. They brought in filigree. F-I-L-E-G-R-E-E. It is a unique method of modeling golden ornaments. Ornaments modeling के लिए they usually do this work called filigree work. Okay, filigree. F-I-L-E-G-R-E-E. Filigree work they brought into Goa. Then along with the filigree work into Goa, okay, they brought in the system of drilled infantry. Okay, it's given there, right? Drilled infantry means a proper army, okay, which is well trained and ready to attack. Okay, that the drilled infantry system also they brought into India. Drilled infantry. Drilled infantry means organized and trained army is called drilled infantry. Then along with these two, in the ship construction also they brought in two new styles, which is known as castled prow and stern. You write them down, I'll explain them. Castled prow and stern are the two new techniques they brought in shipbuilding. Castled prow and stern. Okay, castled prow means, okay, the starting part of a ship, which usually looks this triangular way. Okay, so opening part, I mean, if you see the ships from the front part, they usually have a narrow nose to them. This narrow nose of a ship is known as castled prow. Whereas if you look at any European ship from the behind, usually it has a flat bottom. That is what is known as, okay, stern. Stern means the flat bottom. Okay, castled prow means the initial part. Are you getting this, sir? Okay, you might watch this movie Titanic. In that you can see this castled prow. Okay, so the starting part of the ship, which it dashes into the iceberg. Yes. Then back part is flat bottom, right? Okay, that is what is known as stern and castled prow. These two new techniques they brought in order to construct ships in India. So these are the important contributions of the Portuguese. Then along with that, the Portuguese, because of their regular piratical attacks, okay, they were given the name of Firangi by Indians. That is the reason why even now, okay, in the languages like Urdu and Persian, okay, usually the Europeans are known as Firangi. Okay, so is it used in Odisha? No. Okay, usually it is Firangi. Europeans are called as Firangi. Firangi is primarily because they were using piratical tactics in sea-based warfare. That is the reason why they are known as Firangi. Is it clear, sir? So this is a story of the Portuguese in India. Tomorrow we are going to discuss about the Dutch, Danes, English, okay, along with French. Then along with that, I'll introduce the ideology part 2. And if the time permits, tomorrow I'm going to start and finish off the establishment of British Empire in India too. That is Bengal conquest. Okay, then after that Maratha, Mysore, all these things we are going to discuss tomorrow. Is it all right? So, but okay, if you bring the printed handout, my work will become much easier. Okay, so please bring the printed handout. Okay, it's not much. Okay, somewhere around some 20-25 pages is there. So you take a printout and get it to the class. Okay, so that's it for today. Thank you for your time. Have a good day. Please engage with the subject, okay, with utmost strictness and utmost discipline. Till the time I'm here, let's try and learn as much as possible from modern India. Okay, so that's my request from my side. So please engage with the subject at least for 2-3 hours per day. Okay, so and read the handouts also before coming to class tomorrow. That's it for today. Thank you for your time.